Why aren't we able to persuade others? And why aren't people paying attention? We speak well of others. Prospects benefit from our excellent offerings. Others benefit from our vision and enthusiasm. And they don't believe us, don't purchase our products, and don't share our vision and enthusiasm. We say wonderful things, but no one believes us or acts on our advice. Why? We don't need any more nice things to say, do we? Rather, we must learn how to persuade others to believe and trust the positive things we are currently saying. It isn't about the cost. It has nothing to do with the salesman's breath. It is not about the PowerPoint presentation of the leader. It's all about those first few wonderful seconds when we meet someone. So, what happens next? People make an immediate choice in the first few seconds to 1. Have faith in us, believe us when we say that. Alternatively, individuals make an immediate choice in the first few seconds to 2. Activate the salesman's alarm. Apply the too good to be true filter to your search. Maintain skepticism. Keep an eye out for the catch. This is an instantaneous and, sadly, typically definitive conclusion. Hello my friends, the Wisdom Seeker. My name is John and I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to our YouTube channel. In this episode, I would like to introduce to everyone the book, How to Instantly Earn Clients' Trust. This book will show you how to establish a trusting and believing relationship with prospect in a matter of seconds. How? By speaking directly to the subconscious mind, the portion of the brain that makes decisions. Our message should be lodged in the minds of others rather than bouncing off their brows. Our responsibility is to get our message into their skulls so that they may make decisions in their life. Now, if we can convince people to accept and trust our message, we'll be effectively keeping it from them. Use these quick, simple, tried and true strategies to establish rapid connection with others. After that, everything else is simple. This book is for you whether you are a leader, a salesperson, a network marketer, an influencer, a teacher, or someone who needs to communicate fast and effectively. This is an audiobook version of the book, narrated by John Duong. What's the difference between a powerful influencer and a jobless bank teller? Rapport. Salesman number 1 makes a flawless presentation to an ideal prospect, but fails to close the deal. Salesman number 2 begins with 3 to 8 seconds of rapport directed at the prospect's subconscious mind, and he can't go wrong. Even if he is inept and his prospect must sell himself, salesman number 2 always makes the sale. Professionals understand that the sale has already been made before the presentation has even started. The prospect's first decision is whether to believe what you say or to build walls of distrust and disbelief around you. What? Yes, prospects decide whether or not to believe and trust what you say before you even begin your presentation. Do you want to see 2 examples? Number 1. What if my first words to you are, "Trust me, I'm from the tax department and I'm here to assist you"? Have you already decided whether or not to trust me? Yes, I believe so. Number 2. I frequently give talks and conduct trainings in Russia. Trust me, I said at the start of my speech, I am a citizen of the United States. Don't you think they've made the decision to be on the lookout right now? Consider it this way: a sleazy, fast-talking used car salesman approaches you. Your guard immediately rises. You're afraid to put your trust in that salesman and believe everything he says. It's finished. Even if that sleazy salesman offered you the best car deal ever, you wouldn't trust or believe him. No, you would respond. You're probably thinking, "It's too good to be true," says the narrator. "What's the catch?" says the narrator. "I'm not sure I can trust a salesman. I need to be skeptical in order to keep my money safe." The most important sale we need to make is persuade our prospects to believe the good things we'll say in our upcoming presentation. That is precisely what professionals do. Before they begin their presentation, they establish trust, belief, influence, and rapport. What if you don't establish this rapport before you begin? Your thoughts and messages never make it past your prospect's head. The salesman's alarm. The too good to be true filter. Uncertainty about strangers. Programs that aren't working. A filter that asks, what's the catch? Doubtfulness. So, no matter how great your offer is or how sincere you are, your prospects will not buy until you can establish that rapport, allowing them to hear and believe the good things you say. If you don't build rapport first, you'll hear things like this from your prospect. Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't have any money. I need to discuss it with someone else. I'll have to think about it. I don't think I'll be able to do it. I'm sorry, but I don't have time. All of these statements simply state that they did not believe us when we told them something. We didn't strike up a conversation. Objections. Consider all of your objections as a result of a lack of rapport. If you and your prospect were completely in sync, you'd be walking hand in hand toward the same goal. Don't bother learning how to deal with objections. Instead, learn how to build rapport so that no objections arise. As a result, the first and most important step in communication is to establish an immediate rapport. This will happen if you do not establish rapport. I like to tease the group in live workshops. Of course, I try to offend everyone, but some groups are just easier to offend than others. Here's an example of what I say to show people that they don't need to hear any more good things. Instead, they must learn the skills necessary to persuade others to believe the good things they already say. First, consider example number 1. I have a question for network marketing health distributors. Would your prospects like to live a longer life, or do you want to die quickly? Live longer, they all say. Then I inquire, do your prospects want more money or less money in their lives? More money, they respond. I'll keep going. So your prospects want to live longer, and you offered them a chance to live longer with your products. And your prospects want more money in their lives, and you offered them a chance to be a distributor and have more money in their lives. And then your prospect said at the end of your presentation, the resounding response from the group is no. Then I say, let's go over it again. You offered them the chance to live longer and earn more money, but they turned it down. Doesn't that seem a little strange to you? They are now deliberating. That's odd, says the narrator. I gave them exactly what they asked for. As a result, I say, what you've done is taken pre-sold prospects and literally talked them out of it because you didn't build rapport. Attendees at the workshop groan. Then I say something like this. Oh, no, it's getting worse. Your prospects didn't believe you when you said great things. In fact, you did such a poor job convincing them of your good intentions that your prospects are almost saying to you, I'd rather die young and bankrupt than do business with you. Ouch, that was a bit of a slap in the face. Isn't that exactly what's going on? Then I move on to the other organizations that are selling items. I intend to offend everyone in the same way, so I tell the skincare salespeople that their customers say, I'd rather wrinkle and age quickly than do business with you. Their prospects are saying to the copier salespeople, I'd rather buy a more expensive copier that doesn't work well than deal with you. Their prospects are saying to the car salespeople, I'd rather sell my dream car and buy a dull nerd mobile than do business with you. This is how it goes. This is something we've all gone through. We tell prospects wonderful things, but they don't believe us, and they don't do business with us. As a result, The first and most important step in communication is to establish an immediate rapport. Because once we've established rapport with a prospect, they'll believe everything we say and do business with us right away. In the first few seconds, here's how to establish rapport. Honesty, integrity, sincerity, and having the best interests of your prospects at heart don't work. Now, I'm not advocating lying, but honesty, integrity, sincerity, and having your prospects' best interests at heart are not the best tools for building rapport. They are ineffective. Do you need proof? Consider the last time someone didn't believe you. Were you completely honest with him? Yes. Were you a trustworthy person? Yes. Were you sincere in your intentions? Yes. Were you thinking about that person's best interest? Yes. That person, on the other hand, did not believe you. You were present, of course, it happened to you, and no progress was made. These four things aren't the best ways to establish a rapport. In fact, they're not even required. Do you need proof? Consider a con artist. Is a con man trustworthy? No. Is the con artist trustworthy? No. Is the con artist telling the truth? No. Is the con artist looking out for the prospect's best interest? No. Con artists, on the other hand, can persuade honest, hardworking people to hand over all of their money in just 15 seconds. Wouldn't it then occur to us that con artists have unique abilities to establish trust and rapport? Yes, of course. Is it possible for us to learn the same abilities? Yes. And we have the option of using those abilities for good or evil. So let's figure out how to get our ideas and information into the heads of our prospects right now, saving everyone a lot of time and frustration. How to establish an instant rapport with your prospects. People put up barriers of disbelief and skepticism against those who do not share their belief. The short version is that we have internal programs in our subconscious minds that say, I can trust people who think like me, who see the world through my eyes. Here's an illustration. Let's pretend you're from the United States and you're visiting China. You're surrounded by a billion Chinese people, and you happen to meet someone from the United States. Bonding happens right away. There's an instant connection, and there's instant trust. Why? Because that other American resembles you more than the rest of China's billion people. It's possible that your conversation will go something like this. I'm from New York City, you say. What country are you from? I'm from Los Angeles, says another American. We're neighbors, you say. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but you instantly feel more at ease with the other American because they're more like you. As a result, we tend to trust and feel at ease with people of the same religion, ethnic background, political party, who drink the same beer, participate in the same activities, and so on. People who hold opposing viewpoints, we, on the other hand, are immediately skeptical of everything they say. In my CD series, How to Manipulate and Control the Minds of Others for Fun and Profit, I show people how to get around skepticism by starting with a statement that the prospect already believes. When you say something to a prospect that he already believes, his subconscious mind says, hey, you're thinking along the same lines as me. You, like me, are a genius. You also possess high-level Vulcan ninja mind reading abilities. Whatever you say after that, I'm going to believe it. You won't gain a prospect's trust if you tell him something he doesn't agree with. So, here are some opening statements with which a prospect might agree. If you sold health-related products, you should. We all desire to live longer lives. Growing old is difficult. Everyone wants to be fit. Arthritis is excruciatingly painful. Everyone requires more energy. Antibiotic pills do not provide health. If you are a real estate agent, you would. We all require housing, and it is critical that we live near our children's schools. It's nice to have our own place. Rent money is irreversibly lost. Everyone desires a secure environment. Every family requires a place to call home. Owning a home is like having money in the bank. Smart people buy rather than rent. If you were selling skincare products, you'd have to. We make our first impression with our face. Smart people make their skin younger while they sleep. Age spots aren't inevitable. We want to keep wrinkles at bay for as long as possible. People despise wrinkles, and we never want to appear older than we are. If you were in the business of selling telephone services, you would. We don't want to pay full retail for our phone, so free calls make sense. Smart businesses save money with phone packages. Every one of us received a cell phone bill. If you were selling a business opportunity, you should. Our week is disrupted by work. Having 2 paychecks is preferable to having one, and every mother desires to be at home with her children. Raises are difficult to come by these days. The economy is in a bad way. We'd all like to get rid of the boss. We have more freedom when we are our own boss. It's critical to be able to set our own work hours. It would be fantastic if we could sell our alarm clock to our next door neighbor. It would be exciting to get up at 12 a.m. It is preferable to have a 5-day weekend to a 2-day weekend. We don't want to be jobless for the rest of our lives. We all need more travel time. If you were selling electricity, you would. People despise overpaying for electricity. It makes sense to get an immediate discount. Nobody wants to pay the highest rate. Buying electricity at retail is a bad business decision. Allow someone else to cover a portion of your electric bill. If you sold diet products, you'd have to. We don't have time to exercise, and no one wants to be the fat ant. It's difficult to lose weight. When we are not hungry, it is easy to have willpower. Let us transform our bodies into fat-burning machines. Yo-yo diets are only meant to be temporary. We want to lose weight as soon as possible. If you were selling financial services, you would. We want our money to work full-time for us. Being debt-free relieves stress. Insurance is costly, and saving money is difficult. Everything is so expensive these days. We all love our families. Bills eat up our entire paycheck. If you were selling travel, vacations provide the best memories for families. Everyone wants a good deal on a vacation, and we all work hard, so we all deserve a break. A 2-week stay at our mother-in-law's isn't exactly a vacation. Because travel is costly, we want to plan ahead to get the best deals. If you were a car salesperson, you would. Cars are costly. Everyone enjoys the thrill of a new car. Options can be confusing. We all want a good deal. People sometimes make assumptions about us based on the vehicle we drive. Nobody under the age of 60 wants a dull car, and car shopping can be stressful. Your prospect will think, with opening statements like these, "Yes, I agree. You converse in my native tongue." Did you notice how simple it was to agree with the statements above? Did you find yourself nodding your head in agreement? That is the impression we want to leave on our prospects. It's pointless to begin presenting to a prospect unless the two of us are completely on the same page. We don't want to say nice things to people who don't believe us, but we do want to say nice things to people who believe us. The first distinction between amateurs and professionals is this. So, what exactly is going on? Pacing. Allow me to explain. We must speak to a prospect in a way that he understands if we are to truly communicate with him. We must travel at his pace. We need to speak to him from his point of view and beliefs. I'd like you to imagine the following scenario. Your lead is jogging down the street. You want to speak with your potential client. Would you sprint ahead of your opponent? Obviously not. Would you walk slowly and far behind your potential client? Obviously not. You should jog at the same pace as your potential client. Communication would be much easier then. This is referred to as pacing. We talked to our prospect in the previous chapter by using statements that he or she already believed. We kept a close eye on our prospect's beliefs. As a result, our prospect was more likely to believe the good things we said. What if we didn't keep track of our prospect's beliefs? What if we started by making claims that our prospect didn't believe? Then our prospect would develop the attitude toward us. I can't believe you, the prospect would say to himself. All of the nice things we'd say to our prospect would then bounce off his or her forehead and fall to the floor. Nothing we said could persuade our prospect to change his mind. It would be a waste of our excellent presentation. We both squandered our and the prospect's time. That is a pity. If you're looking for some examples of not pacing a prospect's belief, look no further. Example number 1, you're trying to sell a business opportunity to someone who has always worked. What is this prospect's thought process? He considers, hey, you're a business person already. That is, of course, how you feel. But what about me? I currently have a job, and I have a different perspective. Example number 2, you're a skinny salesperson who wants to sell diet products to an obese customer. What is the overweight candidate's mindset? Hey, it's not hard for you not to eat. You're quite frail, but I'm hungry all the time. I can't sleep when I'm hungry. You have no idea how it feels to be me. Example number 3, you're in the real estate business. This is what your first-time buyer is thinking. Sure, it's simple for you to make a hasty decision to purchase a home. It's something you do all the time. However, I've never purchased a home before. This is a significant choice. It's a substantial sum of money. I'm not going to make a blunder. I'll need more time to consider this. Here's another example of pacing to demonstrate the importance of rapport. There are 2 types of people, those who think quickly and speak quickly, and those who think slowly and speak slowly. Let's take a look at what happens when one of them speaks to the other. The person who speaks quickly demonstrates benefit after benefit and tries to close the sale as quickly as possible. The person who thinks more slowly is stressed. Too much data, too quickly, there isn't enough time to process the information. You can't trust the fast talker. He's being duped by the fast talker, and no deal is struck. What happens when the person who speaks slowly gives a presentation to a prospect who thinks quickly? The quick-thinking prospect becomes agitated. Please hurry. Get straight to the point. Quicken your speech. As the slower talker plods on, the fast-thinking prospect finishes the sentences. The quick-thinking prospect becomes irritated. The quick-thinking customer thinks the slower-talking salesperson is a moron, and no deal is struck. I'll tell you about us Texans. A Texan travels to New York City to meet with a group of investment bankers dressed in 3-piece suits. The Texan is dressed in his worn-out boots, cowboy hat, jeans, and begins his pitch to the investment bankers with a slow drawl. Please take a seat. I'm getting ready to start working on this presentation right now. Is the investment banker's decision on the Texan's presentation already made? Yes. The investment bankers are pondering the following. That retarded, slow-talking hillbilly, that retarded Texan is a complete waste of time. There would be no business done on that day. What if one of those 3-piece suit investment bankers makes a presentation in Texas? What will that look like? We Texans, on the other hand, will put on our best shoes to attend the meeting in order to impress the investment banker. And, after hearing a few words from the investment banker, we think to ourselves, that fast-talking, city slicker, carpetbagger used car salesman isn't out to defraud us. Hang him up. Yes, Within the first 5 seconds of his presentation, we decided not to do business with him. It's crucial to keep a steady pace. You can only communicate with prospects if you speak at their pace, share their worldview, and share their values. Pacing on a higher level. Let's improve our rapport building skills. So far, we've discovered that telling our prospect one fact that he already believes can help us build that trust. This fact implies that we both see the world from the same perspective. We share similar viewpoints. So, what could be better than stating the obvious to our prospect? We're going to tell our prospect 2 facts. You put your prospect into a deep hypnotic trance if you tell him 2 facts that he believes. Okay, maybe not a deep hypnotic trance, but the prospect will be more likely to believe your sales pitch. And isn't that exactly what we want? We want the thoughts and messages we have in our heads to reach our prospects. The prospect can then decide whether or not our message will meet his needs once inside. We are effectively withholding this information or opportunity from our prospect if we do not get our ideas and message into their heads. That is unjust. That is why we must work diligently to establish that rapport. So, compare and contrast these 2 opening statements. Take a look at them. Consider how the prospect feels when we begin with, "You have a dreadful job, whereas I have this fantastic opportunity. Fat people have no self-control. You must adhere to our strict dietary guidelines. People who are out of shape are losers. I recommend that you hire me as a personal trainer. Wise people make quick purchases. Why are you still debating it? Ouch. Isn't it true that we don't get along? This is a disgrace. Instead, let's take it a little easier at first. Let's begin by pacing our prospect with 2 facts that he or she can easily accept. The rest of our presentation will be more readily accepted, and we will be able to successfully implant our ideas and message into our prospect's mind. Here are a few illustrations. If you were selling automobiles, you would. Purchasing a car is a significant investment. We also don't want to spend too much money. People make snap judgments about you based on your vehicle. It's not fair, but it's the truth. A new car makes us happy. Every day, we deserve a little happiness. If you sold diet products, you'd have to. We don't have time to exercise and dieting is difficult. Starving ourselves isn't going to help. We all require nourishment. It's impossible to stick to a strict diet. We all have to go to social gatherings. Diet food has a cardboard flavor. We all desire to consume real food. We must consume real food. It's ridiculous that we have to eat our meals through a straw. We all enjoy tasty shakes. What if they also helped us lose weight? We don't have time to diet. A once daily magic pill, on the other hand, makes sense. If you were selling travel, we don't want to spend the holidays with our mother-in-law. We want a 5-star vacation at a reasonable cost. Travel is costly. Traveling wholesale, on the other hand, makes it a lot easier. We've all earned a break. This implies that you will not be staying at home. We all have to work to make ends meet. A career in travel, on the other hand, is a lot more enjoyable. If you were selling vitamins, you'd have to. We all want to live longer lives, and it's inconvenient to die young. Although aging is unavoidable, we can maintain our youthful appearance. Eating healthy sounds good on paper, but it's extremely difficult to do in practice. Grandchildren are little reeks on the house, so we'll need a pick-me-up before they arrive. It's important to have more energy, but coffee causes us to crash. We all enjoy coffee's flavor. Wouldn't it be wonderful if our coffee helped us to be healthier? We already know that natural food is superior to synthetic food. We also want our vitamins to be as natural as possible. Our health is our most valuable asset. We'd like to keep it for as long as possible. Growing old is a painful experience. We'd all like to look and feel younger. If you were in the clothing business, people judge us based on our appearance. Everybody wants to make a positive first impression. We want to match our outfits as closely as possible. Nobody wants to be mistaken for a clown when they go out. Traditional clothing never goes out of style and gives us a refined appearance. A cheap suit does not look good on anyone. Every time we meet someone, we want to impress them. Out-of-style clothing is humiliating. We want to look our best at all times. If you were selling a business opportunity, you should. The economy is in a bad way. This year, no one will get a pay raise. Working a job will not make you wealthy. You must run your own company. Jobs are not well compensated. Having a job ensures that we will be bankrupt. It's humiliating to beg for a 2% pay raise. We want to be able to set our own pay increases. Our week is disrupted by work. Working on our boss's dream will not help us advance. We either work on our own dreams or on the dreams of others. Isn't it past time for us to get to work on our dream? We do not intend to work until we are 65 years old. Then we're too old to have fun in our spare time. Yes, we can retire at the age of 65. However, we will only be able to retire on 40% of what we can't even live on now. We want to start our own company. If we don't, we'll be forced to work for the rest of our lives. If you sold skincare and cosmetics, you'd be able to. Your face is the first thing people notice about you. You want your appearance to wow people. We all want to avoid wrinkles for as long as possible as we get older. It's critical to look after our skin, and we never want to appear older than we are. The climate in this area dries out our skin. We must safeguard our skin against wrinkles. We want to make sure we get a good night cream because they are expensive. Mascara that doesn't run is a must-have. When it rains, we don't want to look like vampires. Everything changes when you choose two facts that both you and your prospect can believe. An instant bond is formed. You now have a channel through which to communicate your excellent ideas and information. Let's get even better at building rapport. Now, I am not saying that a smile will always instantly create trust, belief, and rapport, but I am saying that if you frown, you're dead. If you want to be somber and dead serious in your delivery, then save yourself and your prospect some time. Go home. Smiling is the better way. But don't take my word on it. Test it. Try this. Consciously make the effort to smile at total strangers. Make a note of how many smile back. I am sure it will be a very high percentage of smiling strangers in your life. Now ask yourself, is it easier to have rapport with someone who is already smiling with me? Practice smiling. It works. No way. This is so good that it might as well be illegal. Do you recall our objective? To get the message and information that we have in our heads into the heads of our prospects, and to have them believe what we say. After that, once our message and information have entered the prospect's mind, he can decide whether or not this message and information will benefit him. That is all there is to it. So let's get this done quickly and efficiently so that everyone can save time. How? 1. Tell our prospect one fact in which he can put his faith. 2. Say something else to our prospect that he can believe. 3. Smile. Almost excessive, but extremely effective. Let's take a look at this. Winter causes our skin to dry out, and we'd all like to have softer skin. It's wonderful to be able to stay at home with our children, but we all need to earn a living. Buying our first home is nerve-wracking, but also exciting. Shopping for a car can be stressful, but driving home in a new car is the best feeling in the world. Diets are a pain in the neck. Our bodies were designed to consume food. Bills eat up the majority of our pay. It's difficult to save money. Paying taxes means we have less money. We want to take advantage of that tax money and retire early. As you can see, establishing rapport takes only a few moments. We don't need to waste time chit-chatting and building relationships. People nowadays have short attention spans. They place a premium on their time. As a result, our prospects will make snap decisions in order to save time. The previous century has come to an end. In today's environment, old sales techniques from the 1960s will not work. Have you ever heard of the formula for building rapport? For example, the letter F stands for family. Hey, why are you asking all these questions about my family? We were supposed to ask the prospect after an hour of talking about his family. Then we were supposed to move on to O and talk for a while about his job. The letter R stood for recreation. Inquire about the prospect's hobbies and interests incessantly. The letter M stood for, well, it doesn't matter. We'd already lost our chance at the 10-second mark. Okay, maybe that's a little dramatic, but we need to move on from old theories about rapport. Our prospect's subconscious mind decides on rapport almost instantly. That means we're running out of time. How many questions about a prospect's family can you ask in 10 seconds? Professionals understand that prospects decide whether or not to believe and trust us in a matter of seconds. We must use effective rapport building techniques to effectively manage that time. To build rapport, use magic words and phrases. Yes, certain words set off deep-seated mental programs. These programs force us to make snap judgments, and these choices are made prior to the start of the presentation. Here's an illustration. Let's pretend there are two political parties in the country. Let's call them Democrats and Republicans, respectively. If you're a member of the Democratic Party, you start nodding your head in agreement when the party's leader speaks. There is a connection. You and the leader share the same perspective on the world. You decide whether or not to believe what that leader says even before he says it. If, on the other hand, the Republican Party's leader speaks, you are suspicious from the moment he moves his lips. That leader does not share your point of view on the world. There is no connection. There is no trust. There's no way to believe it. It's only a matter of seconds. For example, just hearing the word Democrat elicits an emotional response in your brain. Your internal programs tell you to feel that way. This isn't the only program you're thinking about. There are millions of automatic programs on your computer. That's how we'll be able to function. We don't have to think everything through. We have programs that take care of this for us. Here are some examples. When someone smiles at you as you walk down the street, you automatically smile back. If we're out shopping and a sales clerk approaches us and asks, "Can I help you?" we instinctively say, "Oh no, I'm just taking a look." When we enter an elevator and there is already a stranger there, we instinctively stand as far away as possible while still facing the stranger. "How are you doing?" someone might inquire. Depending on our internal programs, we automatically respond, "Oh, just over there," or "fantastic," without even thinking about it. As a result, it's understandable that certain words and phrases will trigger automatic programs in our prospects' heads. These words and phrases should be used to help us establish instant rapport and deliver our message and information. Are you ready to learn a few new words and phrases? Surviving is a good thing. Survival is one of our most powerful mental programs. Many of our choices are based on the need to survive. I have some bad news for you. Prospects are wary of the survival program. They are afraid of being duped and losing money or time if they are duped. Skepticism is a form of self-defense. What do you think will happen if your prospect is skeptical and doesn't trust or believe you? Nothing. That's a problem now. So, let's use the prospect survival program to help us deliver our message and information while maintaining total rapport. How? Of course, using magical words. Most people now want to know what these magical words are. If most people knew these magic words, they would use them over and over again. Most people can become super communicators with the help of these magical words. So, if you're like the majority of people, you're eager to learn these words. So here they are, the vast majority of people. Weird, not at all. When you understand what we do to survive, it all makes sense. Staying with the group is one of our ways of surviving. We don't want to be out on our own as a lone wolf. We want to go down a dark alley with other people rather than alone. Survival is crucial. Do you want to be the first person to eat the berries if you discover a new bush with berries? No, I don't believe so. Your immediate decision is based on the need to survive. You want a large number of people to eat those berries first. It is safer to remain in the company of others. We can also survive by having other people go first. Yes, safety is found in numbers. As a result, when you say most people to a prospect, their brain thinks, do I belong to the majority of people or to the minority? Well, I'd rather be a part of the majority because it's a lot safer. I don't want to risk anything. And, oh my, if I decide to be a part of a smaller group and it doesn't work out, everyone will make fun of me because I made a blunder. Yes, I believe I will follow the majority of people's lead. Wow. And with that, we, as humans, make the decision to do what the majority of people do. Do you believe it is effective? So, see if this sounds like the vast majority of people to you. 4 out of 5 dentists recommend, says a well-known toothpaste manufacturer. And we think toothpaste is pretty good right away. Wasn't that quick? And that was before the facts were presented. Every day, we make decisions based on the majority of people. What do you think when you see 2 restaurants next to each other? For example, one restaurant is packed while the other is deserted. That decision was made fairly quickly, wasn't it? So, let's look at some most people examples in our opening statements to prospects. If we were selling a business opportunity, we would. The majority of people despise their jobs. The majority of people require additional funds. The majority of people want to be their own boss. The majority of people aspire to be wealthy. The majority of people would prefer to work 3 weeks per month but be paid for 4. The majority of parents desire more time with their children. Most mothers despise putting their children in daycare. The majority of jobs are underpaid. The majority of people begin with this package. The majority of people want to pay less in taxes. The majority of new distributors receive their convention tickets immediately. If we sold automobiles, we would. The majority of people want the best deal. The majority of people despise car salesmen's tricks. The majority of people want to enjoy their car buying experience. The majority of people purchase the extended warranty. The majority of people want their economy car to look like a luxury car. The majority of people can save money by leasing. The majority of people do not have time to visit multiple dealerships. If we were to sell travel, most people deserve a vacation and they don't want to spend another holiday with their in-laws. The majority of people prefer to pay wholesale rather than retail. Most families appreciate the cost-effectiveness of a cruise vacation. The majority of people can save money on a package vacation, and the majority of people want to see the world in person. If we sold skin care, we'd be able to. The majority of women would like to delay wrinkles for another 20 years. The majority of people want to keep their skin looking young forever, and the majority of people despise age spots. The majority of people want a sunblock in their moisturizer. The majority of women want to appear younger. The majority of teenagers despise acne, and The majority of women want their makeup to enhance their appearance. If we sold diet products, we'd be able to. The majority of people do not have time to exercise. The majority of people are too busy to diet. The majority of dieters despise being hungry. Most people are aware that exercise is taxing on the body. Most people want to lose weight once and keep it off for good. Most diets don't work. Most dieters want something simple. Most dieters know that exercise makes them tired. Most dieters don't want to eat through a straw. The majority of dieters desire to lose weight quickly. These snacks are popular among dieters. If we were selling insurance or financial products, we would. The majority of families require insurance. However, most insurance is prohibitively expensive. The majority of people do not have extra money to invest. However, the majority of people desire their money to work hard for them. The majority of people despise risky investments. The majority of people would prefer that their savings cover their insurance costs. The majority of families do not have the time to become investment experts, and most company retirement plans are insufficient. The majority of people want to hire a financial advisor to assist them with their finances. The majority of people require insurance but cannot afford it. The majority of people want to be prepared in case of an emergency. There's even more. The majority of people desire a lower electric bill. The majority of teachers desire a higher salary. The majority of employees desire more time with their families. The majority of mothers want their children to be healthy. The majority of women desire a modern kitchen. The average person spends 1/3 of their life in bed. Most men don't want to spend their weekends mowing lawns. Most salespeople want to improve their closing skills. Most dieters want to eat pizza. Isn't it straightforward? So, did you get a sense of it? Did you find yourself saying yes right away after hearing each of these phrases? And when you use most people to talk to your prospects' survival programs, that's how quickly they'll say yes. Everyone is aware of it, and everyone claims to be aware of it. The words most people aren't the only ones that elicit agreement. Everyone knows and everybody says are also good options. Our goal is to persuade people to believe what we say is true. There are two methods for persuading people to believe what we say now. Number 1, browbeat them with an hour of facts, reports, graphs, proof, testimonials, and other mindless nonsense. And, yes, our prospects will most likely say at the end of an hour, "I'm giving up." "All right, I'll believe you." Number 2, with just 2 words, command your prospect's subconscious mind to instantly believe what you're about to say. There is no need for further discussion or proof. Method number 2, on the other hand, appears to be a lot less taxing on both you and your prospect. So let's use magic word phrases to command our prospect to accept whatever we say as true without needing any additional proof. The majority of people who read this will want to know these phrases, and we all know that if we learned these phrases, we'd want to use them all the time, and everyone tells us that we need to learn these phrases as soon as possible in order to make more money. Okay, isn't it pretty self-evident? Everybody knows, and everybody says, persuade people to believe what we say right away. Here's what's going on in the mind of your listener. The subconscious mind runs the following program or script when you say these magic phrases. Everyone knows. Am I a part of everyone? Or am I a part of no one? Because no one is a part of anyone else, I must be a part of everyone. And if everyone knows it, that means I do, and if I know it, it must be true. Really, is this how our brain functions? Yes. Embarrassing, however, this is correct. If what we say is reasonable, the prospect will immediately accept it as true, with no need for further proof. The same is true for everyone says. When someone says, everybody says, our minds run the following script. Everyone asks, am I a part of everyone, or am I a part of nobody? Because no one is a part of anyone else, I must be a part of everyone. And if everyone says it, that means I'm saying it, and if I'm saying it, it must be true, because I'm not a liar. We make an instant decision that what is said is true in that split second. So, let's use the following example. Everyone knows the economy is in shambles. Stop, let's take a closer look at this assertion. This statement is immediately accepted by the prospect as completely true. There is no need for further proof. Your prospect will not question this statement by asking, are you sure? Is there a survey that has been completed? How far have you gone in the toilet? Did someone measure by putting their hand down the toilet? See how simple it was. There was no need for any more proof. You save time, the prospect saves time, you get your message inside the prospect's head, and your prospect believes you. Let's take a look at some more examples. If we sold health club memberships, we'd be able to. Everyone claims that this club is the highlight of their social lives. Everyone understands that watching television does not cause muscles to grow. Everyone says that when we are fit, we appear to be younger. Our aerobics instructors are widely regarded as the best. Everyone understands that if we don't take care of our bodies, where will we live? Everyone understands that hiring a personal trainer will save you time. Everyone knows that resistance training is the most effective way to lose weight. Everyone agrees that our monthly plan is the most practical. Everyone knows that a supervised program won't hurt your muscles. Everyone claims that the most difficult aspect of getting in shape is signing up. If we were to sell insurance, everyone understands that the best value is one's entire life. Everyone says that young families need term insurance. Everyone understands that insurance is a must-have for young families. Everyone claims that we will die at some point. Everyone understands that saving money when starting a family is impossible. Everyone claims that insurance is overly complicated. Everyone understands that we don't want to overspend on insurance. If we were to sell vitamins, we would. Everyone knows that our body is backed by a lifetime warranty. Everyone says that if we don't take care of our bodies, we won't be able to survive. We all know that our foods aren't as nutritious as they once were. Everyone claims that getting fresh, organic food every day is difficult. We all know that we need more vitamin D. Everyone claims that they want to live longer. Everyone understands how inconvenient it is to die young. Everyone claims that we don't have enough time to prepare healthy meals. Every mother is aware that at school, our children are exposed to a wide range of germs and viruses. Every mother claims that she wants to protect her children from the sick children at school. Every grandmother is aware that her grandchildren consume excessive amounts of packaged food. Every grandmother claims she wishes she could be 16 again, but with better judgment. If we sold automobiles, we'd be able to. Toyotas are said to be safer by everyone. Everyone knows how much fun BMWs are to drive. Everyone praises the Nissan's fuel efficiency. Every young man understands that having a convertible car will help him get more dates. Every young man claims that the best dating advertisement is a new car. Every woman understands how ideal these minivans are for soccer moms. Every woman knows that the last thing she wants is for her car to break down on the highway. Every accountant understands that Hondas are the most cost-effective vehicle. Every engineer knows that the engineering on this model is the best. Everyone understands the value of extended warranties. Everyone claims that a single repair is enough to cover the cost of a lifetime extended warranty. If we were selling a business opportunity, we would. Everyone knows that working a job will not make you wealthy. Everyone says that working keeps you broke. It is common knowledge that business owners make the most money. Everyone claims to be fed up with others telling us what to do. Everyone knows that if you work hard, your boss will be the only one who gets a big house for his retirement. Everyone declares their desire to retire early. We all know that our work schedules interfere with our personal lives. Everyone wants to get rid of their boss. Everyone understands that 2 paychecks are preferable to 1. Everyone claims that we will not receive pay raises this year. Everyone is aware that we are underpaid. Everyone says that being wealthy would be wonderful. Everyone knows that if we don't do something, we'll be 85 years old and still working here, with the same dirty coffee cups in our hands. Everyone claims that unless we do something different today, tomorrow will be the same as today. Everyone knows and everybody says are 2 workhorses you can employ to quickly persuade your prospect to believe your message. And this is significant. These phrases tend to get around your prospect's objections, such as doubts, bad experiences in the past, too good to be true, what's the catch, exactly. It's now simple for you to communicate and persuade your prospects to believe what you say. Well, you know how. Yes, another magic phrase that helps us persuade our prospects to believe us is well, you know how. Put well, you know how in front of your facts, and most prospects will automatically run through the following script in their heads. Well, you know how. Well, if I already know how, then it must be true, because I already know what I know. That may sound ridiculous, but that is how we think. At my live workshops, I love to do this little experiment. I ask the participants to simply say these 4 words to the person sitting next to them. Well, you know how. Did you notice how, just by saying these 4 words, the person sitting next to you started nodding in agreement? I asked. It's incredible, and it's true. Before we even tell our prospect what we're going to say next, they start nodding and agreeing with us when we say, well, you know how. It only gets better. As soon as you say these words, most people begin to smile. So think about it. Instead of talking to a skeptic, start by saying, well, you know how, and then watch your prospect lean forward, smile, and nod yes in complete agreement with what you're about to say. However, most people reading this would like to see some examples, because we all know that the best way to learn is by doing, and everyone agrees that a few examples would be enough to get us thinking creatively. Reread the previous paragraph if you didn't catch it. Isn't that a little too simple? If you were selling energy drinks, you'd have to. You know how around 2 p.m. we start to feel a little tired. You know how before we start doing our taxes, we need a little more energy. You know how we want more energy but don't want to crash and burn after 2 hours. Well, you're probably aware that most energy drinks are high in empty calories. Do you know how bad most energy drinks taste? You know how when the grandchildren come to visit, we need extra energy. Well, imagine how much more fun we could have if we weren't constantly tired. You know how having more energy makes us feel. You know how we want to have more energy when we exercise. If we were to sell computers, we would. You know how viruses are a major issue. Do you realize how simple this model is to use? You know how the majority of people want a computer that will last a long time. You understand how we want our computer to work with the Office system, right? You know how an extra $100 in memory can almost double your speed. You know how a 3-year maintenance plan takes the stress out of owning a computer. If we made money selling antioxidants, we'd be able to. You know how we all want a super strong immune system so that nothing can take us out. You know how we don't want our bodies to rust away over time. You know how we want to protect our children at school from viruses. You know how we want to start taking antioxidants now so we don't have to start taking prescription medications later. You know how we only have one body and want it to last as long as possible. Do you know how this miraculous ingredient can protect you from catching a cold? You know how much we despise being sick? Do you realize how good nutrition makes us feel? You know how we're supposed to eat something healthy to balance out our pizza consumption? You know how inconvenient it is to die quickly? You know how we all wish we could live long enough to see our great-granddaughters marry? If we sold video, please send an email to. Do you realize how difficult it is to type messages? You know how much we despise writing because of embarrassing grammar errors. You know how we always say we don't have time to type messages. You know how a picture is worth 1,000 words. You know how easily a typed email can be misinterpreted. You know how we feel more connected when we can see the person talking. You know how people prefer to watch videos rather than read. If we sold all natural, organic cleaning products, we'd be able to. You know how we want to save Mother Earth. You know how little kids get themselves into everything. You know how poisons aren't welcome in our homes. You know how we all want to do our part to protect the environment. You know how non-toxic all natural cleaners are. You know how we all want a safe place to call home. If we sold cosmetics, we'd be able to. You know how people judge us based on our appearance. You know how we never want to look older than we really are. You know how some people appear to have attended the clown school of makeup. You know how most eyeshadows are a little too dramatic. You know how most men are afraid of wearing makeup. Do you realize how costly good makeup can be? You know how important it is for us to appear professional. You know how we hate it when our makeup cakes or cracks. Do you know how heavy most makeup is? You know how makeup can conceal minor flaws. If we were to sell real estate, you know how we all need a place to live, don't you? You know how important it is for us to have a place to call home. You know how renting is a waste of money month after month. You know how renting makes someone else wealthy. You know how we long for the independence of owning our own home. You know how people who bought their home 20 years ago now have a significant asset in their home. Well, you know how owning a home is less expensive than renting. Well, don't you know how everyone wants their own space? You know how much we want to be close to our kids' school. Do you realize how much easier your life will be if you live near a train station? You know how buying a house is like depositing money in a bank. Do you know how home prices fluctuate over time? You know how renters always feel bad about squandering their money on rent. Do you realize how much safer this neighborhood is for kids? You know how this school is ranked #1 in the state. You know how some people procrastinate and miss out on good opportunities. If you were selling a business opportunity, you should. You know how a 5-day weekend is preferable to a 2-day weekend. You know how wonderful it would be to work from home. You know how commuting eats up a lot of time. You know how we'll never be wealthy if we work a job. You know how much we'd like to sell our alarm clock to our next door neighbor. You know how much we'd all like to make more money. You know how all the smart people have a side hustle. You know how much we'd like to be able to set our own hours. Do you have any idea how we want to pick up our kids from school? Do you realize how wonderful it would be to never have to work again? Well, we all want to be our own boss, right? Yes, well, you know how makes it simple to get our ideas into the heads of our prospects. It's also quick. Consider it this way, we don't want to waste our time talking to prospects who don't believe us, right? That was simple, wasn't it? There's an old proverb. Yes, there are numerous old proverbs. Consider the following scenario. There's an old adage that says you should believe what people do rather than what they say. Practice makes perfect, according to an old adage. There's an old adage about not putting your tongue on a frozen pipe. A stitch in time saves nine, according to an old proverb. When it rains, it pours, according to an old adage. What exactly is going on here? So, when we say, there is an old saying, the following script is activated in our prospect's subconscious mind. If anyone says, there is an old saying, anywhere, at any time, it must be true because it is an old saying. Weird. Yes, but our subconscious mind uses this method to make quick decisions. Our minds have more important things to do than question and consider each statement. As a result, our mind creates some mental shortcuts to make everything a lot easier to think about. If someone says there is an old saying, one of the shortcuts is that the mind automatically accepts it as true, allowing the mind to move on to more important things. And, well, you know how examples can help with this. If you were selling skincare products, you'd have to. There's an old adage that says we should never look older than we are. It's a common belief that winter dries out our skin. There's an old adage that smart women sleep with their skin looking younger. There's an old adage that wrinkles give you personality, but not much else. There's an old adage that the first step is to cleanse. It's been said that wrinkles belong on prunes, not on people. If you were in the clothing business, there's an old adage that says a man's clothes make him. It's been said that you only have one chance to make a good first impression. There's an old adage that says you can't go wrong with 100% wool. It's an old adage that good clothes make people feel good. There's an old adage that when we leave the house, we don't want to look like the bottom shelf at Kmart. It's a well-known fact that vests never go out of style. It's a well-known adage that black goes with almost anything. If you were selling a business opportunity, you should. It's an old adage that work gets in the way of the weak. There's an old adage that if you're not the lead sled dog, you always have the same view. There's an old adage that having two paychecks is preferable to having one. There's an old adage that if you work hard enough, your boss will retire to a large home. There's an old adage that having a job guarantees you'll be broke. It's been said that smart people seek out opportunities. It's been said that some people have given up on life and are simply waiting to die. It's an old adage that wealthy people have multiple streams of income. There's an old adage that graduating from university will earn you 45 years of hard work. If you were selling diet programs, you could. There's an old adage that going on a diet will only make you gain weight. There's an old adage that changing your breakfast can help you stay in shape. There's an old adage that says exercise is the key to success. It's an old adage that we're simply too busy to diet. It's an old adage that dieting is easier when you're not hungry. It's a well-known fact that thin people eat a large breakfast. There's an old adage that losing weight is simple, but maintaining it is more difficult. It's an old adage that it's easier to exercise when you're full of energy. There's an old adage that protein makes you feel full. There's an old adage that if you go on a diet, you have to come off it eventually. If you sold healthy coffee, you'd be able to. There's an old adage that coffee helps you lose weight. There's an old adage that says coffee brightens our day. There's an old adage that there's nothing like a good cup of coffee. There's an old adage that says we want Starbucks quality without the Starbucks price. It's been said that coffee is the most popular social beverage. There's an old adage that says your coffee should help you stay healthy. There's an old adage that coffee gives you a boost of energy. It's an old adage that everything tastes better with a cup of coffee. If you so, well, we could apply these magic words to almost anything. Let the magic begin. So let's combine a few of these magic words and see how we can get prospects to open their minds to hear what we have to say. It would be easier for our prospect if we use more magic words and phrases. The majority of people would like to see some examples right now. If you were selling automobiles, you would. You know how we despise overpaying for a new car. The majority of people are looking for a good deal that will save them money. Everyone knows how much fun it is to brag to your friends about how much money you saved on your new car. How does the prospect make you feel right now? Isn't it great how well you and the car salesman get along? Alternatively, the car salesman could have said, "There's an old adage that high-volume dealerships offer the best deals. Everyone understands that selling hundreds of cars per month lowers the per-car price. The vast majority of people would welcome the opportunity to save money. If you were selling skincare, you'd have to. Everyone says that our first impression is formed by our face. And, well, you know how we like to keep our faces protected from the sun. The majority of women demand sunscreen in their moisturizer. Everyone knows that's the first line of defense against the sun's aging effect. Or, we all know how harsh the Arizona winter is on women's skin. And, according to every dermatologist, the majority of the moisture is lost at night. Your face is only as young as your night cream, says an old adage. If you were selling vitamins, you'd have to. Every mother understands that sending her children to school is risky. Everyone claims that this is the best place to become infected with various germs and viruses. As a result, most mothers want to give their children a good multivitamin before they go to school. Or, there's an old adage that says if we don't take care of our bodies, where will we live? However, we all know we don't have time to eat well. The majority of people can't even find time to exercise. And, well, don't you know how much we'd love to take care of ourselves if it was simple and quick? If you were selling diet programs, you could. You know how most of us are allergic to physical activity. The majority of us flush and break out in a sweat. Everyone realizes there has to be a better way to lose weight. Or, there's an old adage that if you go on a diet, you have to come off it eventually, and everyone knows that's when the weight will start to return. The majority of people would love to lose weight once and for all. If you were selling health club memberships, you'd have to. You know how we all want to be in shape. The majority of people want to join a health club, but lack the time to do so. Everyone claims that hiring a personal trainer will cut down on exercise time. Or, we all know that fat isn't in this year. Everyone claims that staying in shape never goes out of style. As a result, the majority of people want to lose weight quickly by doing weight resistance training. If you sold photocopiers, you should. There's an old adage that says that time is money. To save time, most people want a copier near their office. Everyone says that's the most cost-effective decision an office manager can make. Or, you know how we're always making copies, says the narrator. Instead of rushing to the copy room, most people want their copies now. Everyone understands how valuable our time is. If you sold healthy coffee, you'd be able to. It's an old adage that the best way to start the day is with a cup of freshly brewed gourmet coffee. Everyone understands that life is full of simple pleasures, and everyone says our coffee's fresh vanilla flavor is something they fantasize about all night. Or, the majority of people enjoy coffee. Everyone understands that your coffee should be beneficial to your health. And, well, did you know that while you're enjoying the delicious taste, Our secret ingredient is actually strengthening your immune system. If you sold real estate, you should. There's an old adage that renting is a waste of money. The vast majority of people would prefer to invest their rent money in their own home. Everyone claims that this is the first step toward becoming wealthy. Or there's an old adage that real estate prices always rise. It is widely recognized as one of the safest investments. The majority of people do not want to risk their money by investing in stocks. With this phrase, you can turn off the salesman alarm. People are taught to be wary of salespeople. Salespeople have a goal in mind to sell you something. Nobody enjoys being sold to, but people enjoy purchasing. So, how do you make people feel like they're buying rather than being sold something? By entrusting them with command of the information flow. When someone gives a presentation, they are attempting to sell you something. When you ask questions and they respond, you are making a purchase. Do you see the distinction? What question will cause them to reconsider their opinion of you? How about this? What's the first thing you'd like to know? You put them in question asking mode instead of pitching and presenting. It's simple, it's also courteous. Nobody enjoys a one-way conversation in which the salesperson speaks directly to us. So, as soon as you can, ask the following question. Would you like to know something first? What's more, do you know what's really enjoyable? Your prospect will actually tell you what they want to know first, and you will be discussing what is most important to them. Make a genuine compliment. That isn't as simple as it appears. If the compliment is obvious, the prospect will feel even more insecure. As a result, avoid obvious compliments like, "You look great today. What a lovely home you have. I like the way you dress. You appear to be a very intelligent individual." These obvious compliments increase your prospect's skepticism even more. And the majority of people are embarrassed to accept a straightforward compliment. A less obvious compliment demonstrates that you are interested enough to look deeper and notice something that most people would overlook. Let's rephrase the 4 compliments above in less obvious ways. You always have a smile on your face. When you're raising 4 kids and a husband, where do you get the energy to smile? I like the look of these wood floors. Were they difficult to set up? That silk scarf appeals to me. What store did you get it from? I see you're a subscriber to Business Weekly. How long have you been a member? Did you notice how we immediately followed each less obvious compliment with a question? When you follow up your compliment with a question, you relieve the prospect of some of the pressure. They are under no obligation to thank you for the compliment. Instead, they have a question to answer, which makes the prospect feel a lot more at ease. Make your prospect talk about himself right away. In his book How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie brilliantly pointed this out. How could your prospect pass up such a chance to talk about himself with someone who will listen you? These golden moments are rare for most people. Your prospect will feel more at ease with you once he has the opportunity to discuss his ideas, dreams, goals, and problems. How can you persuade your prospect to discuss himself? Easy. Simply put, ask a question. Your prospect will handle the rest. You're stumped for a question. Here are a few suggestions to get you started. Have you been here for a long time? How did you come across my ad? What part of my ad piqued your interest? Have you known John for a long time? How long have you been dealing with this issue? Do you enjoy traveling? What time should you leave in the morning to avoid traffic? If you had a lot more free time, what would you do with it? Isn't it straightforward? The bottom line is that if our prospects are afraid, resistant, or suspicious of us, our pitch is failing. The one question that can break up a relationship. Why? The why question demonstrates your interest and encourages your prospect to talk more. However, there is a dark side to the why question. Do you recall a time when you were a kid and you made a mistake? Why did you do that? Your parents or teacher might ask. You had to justify why you did it, not only because you felt bad. This question put you on the defensive, and you know how that question created no rapport. Let's pretend you're talking to a potential customer about BMW automobiles. Your prospect just mentioned that he recently bought a Mercedes-Benz. You inquire, how come you bought a Mercedes-Benz the last time? Now your prospect is telling you all the reasons why he bought a Mercedes-Benz and convincing himself that he made the right decision. When you tell your prospect that BMW automobiles are a better choice, it will be difficult to build rapport later in the conversation. As a result, why should be used with caution. Don't put your prospect in a situation where he has to justify why he isn't buying what you're selling. Is it difficult to persuade people to believe you? The majority of people are aware that the answer is no. Everyone knows how easy it is to persuade others to believe what you say is true. You've learned the following conversation starter techniques in this book to help you have a better conversation, sell more, and believe in yourself. That's what's known as rapport. First technique. Tell your prospect something you can both agree on. Technique number 2. Adapting your speed to the needs of your prospect. Method no. 3. Tell your prospect 2 facts on which you can both agree. Technique number 4. Smile. Number 5 technique. The majority of people. Number 6 technique. Everyone is aware. Number 7 technique. Everyone agrees. Number 8 technique. You already know how to do it. Number 9 technique. There's an old adage that goes like this. Number 10 technique. What's the first thing you'd like to know? 11th technique. Sincere appreciation. 12th technique. Allow your prospect to speak for themselves. 13th technique. Avoid asking your prospect a why question. Rapport. It all happens in a flash. In a matter of seconds, the automatic programs in our heads decide whether or not to trust and believe a person. And it's all due to the automatic programs that run in our heads. Dogs know who to bite, as the saying goes in Texas. Rapport is described by some as a feeling, a vibe, or a connection. However, we now know that the decision to form a rapport was not made at random. We have some control over it. Do you have a powerful feeling? Are you ready for your ideas and presentations to make a difference in people's lives rather than just bouncing off their head? You're on your own for the rest. You now have 13 options for establishing the rapport you've always desired. This is the end of this episode. If you're a wisdom seeker and you listen to my podcast, please show your support for my channel by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing for future episodes. Life only gets better if you get better, so keep that in mind. The key to a better future is you.